Hi guys, it's indeed my pleasure to have Sundar with me. Sundar is basically a friend. He's basically with ATA, GTR, and ATA as an organizer for a very long time, if I'm not mistaken. He's a test architect. He mentors people. Amazing guy. Okay, so it is my pleasure to actually have this speaker interview series for ATA GTR 2022, and have a pleasure to have him with me today. And over to you, Sundar. So I would request you to just little talk about yourself before we get into your GTR topic, before we get into other things.
Sure. Thanks a lot for the very warm introduction. I am actually glad that you invited me to ATA a few years back, and it's been an exciting journey since then. I think it's about half a decade since I think we have been associated. So it's not just an amazing journey. It's a really a learning pad as well in terms of what is that learning from fellow test engineers across the industry, from the conferences, meetups, and also from the workshops that you have conducted so far. And also from volunteering and hosting perspective, you also get to learn a lot of leadership skills as well along with you, which is a great opportunity, I think, for me as well as my fellow volunteers. So I would like to first start on that thank you note. So I've been in the IT industry for a couple of decades now, and I've worked almost in all sorts of QA related roles. And I've been a test architect for some time, in the sense that I mean, the biggest question is, what does a test architect do? Test architect does everything other than testing, for sure. I've actually helped companies to scale their organizations, be it hiring or their automation, or putting together the process and frameworks that is required for them to scale their QA organization overall. Currently, I'm with Assembly. It's called joinassembly.com as a director for QA and DevOps. And yeah, and I just joined recently. It's kind of a very exciting journey there as well, because they use the latest and greatest in terms of the tech stack, and they push code every minute. So the biggest challenge is to how to manage the quality in such a scenario. So that's the journey I've embarked on, and hopefully will succeed over a period of time. And looking forward to this conversation with you as well, Aditya.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, guys. Look, you would have understood by now. Such a humble guy, such strong credentials. And if you know that he's basically a director at Join Assembly, that means that he is going to set up things at such a strong new technology stack that we will always be looking forward for his learnings in coming time for sure. And there is a very interesting topic that he's going to speak on. So it's very intriguing to me. I want him to basically speak a little bit about it and let us know what is it about. It is a very good topic, the forgotten functional test. So very interesting and intriguing, Sundar. So would you like to just give little insight? Don't give too much. We want
Yeah.
people to attend your session as well.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So I think so. The this came about during my stint at IBM, and the last 2-3 years I've been associated with IBM before I moved on to Join Assembly. So one of the biggest pain points was that with and this is something very closer to agile as well, with um, the entire organization where we are working to build a product became agile squads. The biggest problem area was that, hey, how do we kind of make sure that when you put the entire functional perspective of the product together, how do we ensure that there is quality from an end-to-end standpoint? At the end of the day, for a customer, it's a wholesome product. The customer doesn't know that, okay, this particular part of the product is developed by a particular agile squad and they have their own process and stuff like that. Whereas there is also a bunch of other squads who actually put the product together. So eventually I realized that functional test, which is the basic end-to-end test, which is what the customer expect in terms of quality, is missing. So this talk is all about how we ended up forgetting functional tests, and how do we kind of mitigate this problem.
Very nice. I think it's very important, and something which I think lot all the automation and the DevOps and the continuous testing team should be well aware of. When we talk about agile, DevOps, and all, the basic tenet about the testing, if it is gone, then testing is not there. It is just basically some drill going on, and it doesn't have the advantages that probably we need. So very nice. I think that it would be one of those learnings which probably every test automation team and DevOps team and continuous testing team definitely should go through. So I don't want him to talk about that. I would now ask him that, Sundar, see, how do you basically bring all this passion in you? Like, okay, it's been 2 decades. It's been, you worked with IBM, now you're working with a startup. So, and you are obviously working with communities like us. So where do you get all this energy, and where do you get all this, what do you call, the passion in the industry?
No, I think I'm not flattering, but it's leaders like you whom I work with actually provide me the energy to begin with. I'm certainly not flattering. I mean, you're better known by the friends that you keep, right? So definitely I derive a lot of energy from the friends and the acquaintances that I keep in the industry. So when they work hard, then you obviously end up thinking that, okay, you will have to put in the effort and energy to get to that level as well, right? So that's definitely an inspiration, and that's where my first and foremost energy comes from. But then I think we are all testers by nature. I think the moment we were born, we started testing our parents' patience. So that's how we started with testing, I think, if I can put it very lightly. And then I don't know, maybe all of us testers, we always look for quality in every product that we buy. And we also, like, I mean, let's say maybe I buy a mobile phone, want to test everything in the mobile phone, make sure that it is good enough for me to kind of buy it, right? So that converts into the passion that we want to actually also give the same sort of quality to our customers, right? At the end of the day, my salary is paid by the customer, and not really by the organization. Of course, indirectly by the customer in some sense, right? So we'll have to give them the quality, and quality is what the customer wants. So we always have to reinnovate ourselves to get to that. So if I can give you a couple of examples. One is, so I worked in an enterprise product. It's in a B2B kind of a product where customers doesn't really care so much about UX, and you would know from your experience as well, right? But what customers care is that the functionality should work no matter what, and something breaks, you're in trouble, you will have to end up paying penalties as well, right? So the question is that how do you make sure that none of the functionalities break, and then it works really well, and it's strong enough that the customer doesn't come back complaining. And it's very, very hard to work with enterprise customers because they complain immediately. So we'll somehow have to get to their mindset and innovate ourselves to test really well. I also worked on a B2C product, which is an e-commerce company. Here, the biggest problem is customer doesn't complain. So the problem was that your e-commerce doesn't work. I don't care. I have another person from where I can actually buy, right? So how do we now track what is happening in the outside in the field, right? So you'll have to look for different avenues to actually learn from the data, maybe even Twitter or from our Google Analytics and from the crash logs that we get and several other things. So that again provides a challenge as to, hey, is the customer using the product? If if he or she is not using, what really went wrong? And you really cannot call a e-commerce customer and ask, hey, is it working all right and all that, because they wouldn't care, right? So the passion kind of translates into what do we have to now do, what we'll have to learn and upskill ourselves so that we can understand the customer's mindset and deliver accordingly. So I think such profound challenges are what actually keeps me going at the end of the day. And now, like I was saying earlier, it's all about pushing code to production every minute. How do we ensure the automation works and we provide quality to the customer? So yeah, I think that's really what keeps me going.
Very nice. See, look, guys, if you would not have noticed so far, he is such a humble. I keep on mentioning, he first of all gives credits to the community itself, which I
Yeah.
think amazing. So it's obviously I have not done anything here, guys. Sundar is something and somebody who has given so much to community. Hats off to him. Thank you so much, Sundar, for being with AT and doing so much other work for other communities as well. I'm very proud. Okay, so that's where I learn from you, and I learn from whatever you have been doing. So
Thank
just
you.
one last question
Yeah.
before we end this conversation, if you're okay.
Yeah,
So,
please go ahead.
would you like to share something which we don't know about you right now, or maybe or the audience, or the testers, or your team, that's something that you would like to talk about? Like for example, I love cooking, so maybe I can talk about it for ages. So maybe something like that you would like to share anything?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think I share the same passion as well. I also love cooking. I didn't have that passion earlier, to be very honest. But since the pandemic, I started cooking for my parents. So they started appreciating whatever I was doing, and then that kept me going. And then I said, okay, I'll start learning more recipes and start cooking. Previously, my biggest what is that or the my fastest cooking, and that's something that is shared by like 95% of people in India, is Maggie, cooking Maggie. And people say that we don't cook Maggie, you just put Maggie in the masala, it cooks by itself. So right. But again, yeah, I love to cook. I spend my mornings usually preparing my breakfast myself, and try and avoid eating outside. Other than that, I have passion for Carnatic music. I'm been learning to play the mridangam. Interestingly, it takes about 5 years to learn one particular tala. Tala is equivalent to the raga that you say, right? So it takes like about 5 years, I believe. And I'm still struggling to finish my first tala, and hopefully we'll be able to start doing some public performance as well at some point.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
this is something which I am really amazed. Okay, this was something which was always hidden so far, guys. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Sundar, for sharing that. Maybe, and how soon can we expect you to finish that, Sundar? We'll start pressurizing you because I want to do a meetup in Bangalore where we would like to see that happening soon.
I don't know. I mean, maybe a year. I got a little disrupted during the pandemic. Uh, I couldn't connect with my master, who was in Bangalore and I was in Chennai. So it got disrupted, although I kept practicing. So we did try on Zoom and all that, but he hated it. So, I mean, of course, uh, even if I make mistakes, he wouldn't know it.
Yeah.
And he's somebody who will ask me to start playing whatever I've learned so far, and he'll be in like a different room altogether.
Uh-huh.
And he knows, like, when I make a mistake, he'll scream from there, like, "Hey, that's a mistake, repeat." So yeah, anyways, so hopefully, without getting into the story, next year or so I should be able to do something about it.
Amazing. Great.
Yeah.
We would always look forward for that, Sundar. So all the best for finishing it off soon. And
Thank you.
may stay blessed and get this extra into you and keep on developing all these new skills around you. We are so happy with it and you're so blessed. Keep that going. Thank you so much for your time, Sundar. Amazing stuff. It was very interesting and intriguing and engaging to talk with you.
Here too, and thanks for once again inviting me to GTR. It's always a pleasurable experience to talk to you. Of course, always love it, and also presenting is very hard, and GTR has been helping me in terms of the presentation skills as well. Hopefully, GTR goes offline sometime soon, and we can meet in person in Pune or somewhere. That will
Yes.
be the best thing that will happen to me. So
Next time I would
sure,
definitely, we would all try. That's let's see that may Almighty be with us. We want
sure.
to do that.
Thank you. Thanks a
Yes,
lot,
thank you
Aditya.
so much.
See you.